When John D. Rockefeller was asked if the Standard Oil Company was the result of his thinking, he answered, "No, sir, I wish I had the brains to think of it. It was Henry Morrison Flagler." But most of you probably have never even heard of such a name. He was one of the most powerful and richest men of his time, yet today his legacy is largely forgotten. Who was this enigmatic figure, shrouded in mystery and secrecy? How did he rise to such heights of power and influence? Join me on a journey back in time as we unravel the secrets and hidden truths behind the life of Henry Flagler. The story of Henry begins in a small town in Hopewell, New York, where he was born in February of 1830. His father was a traveling Presbyterian minister, and young Flagler had little formal education, but he had something else, a burning desire to make his mark on the world. At the age of 14, he left home to seek his fortune. He started out as a clerk, earning a meager $5 a month, but it soon became clear that Flagler was destined for something greater. Within a year, his salary had doubled to $12 a month, a sign of his remarkable talent and drive. As he honed his skills in the world of commerce, little did he know that he was laying the foundation for a business empire that would change the course of history. In the later years of his life, Flagler found success in an unlikely industry, whiskey distilling. With the abundance of grain in rural areas, liquor had become a highly valued commodity. Despite his personal abstinence from alcohol, Flagler saw no moral dilemma in profiting from its sale. His thirst for financial gain knew no bounds, and it was in the liquor business that he made his first fortune, years before the outbreak of the Civil War. As the war drew closer, Flagler's true nature began to emerge. He took two decisive actions that would shape his legacy forever. First, he paid $300 to avoid being drafted into military service, a move that would spare him the horrors of war, but also raise questions about his loyalty and patriotism. Second, he abandoned the liquor business and set his sights on a new venture, salt. As the nation mobilized its armies, the need for preserved food became more pressing than ever before. In 1862, Flagler teamed up with a family member to start a salt company, a move that would bring him closer to power and influence. The Flagler salt venture began with great promise, as the demand for salt during the war drove prices sky high. But as the conflict drew to a close, the bottom fell out of the market. A cartel had been established, designed to eliminate competition and monopolize the industry. The result was catastrophic, with many businesses, including Flagler's, going under. It was a crushing blow for the ambitious entrepreneur, but he refused to be defeated. Instead, he became an expert on the very forces that had destroyed his business, studying the cartel and its workings. Flagler's failure to anticipate the cartel's moves left him with a staggering debt of $50,000 and no clear path forward. But he was not one to give up easily. Failure had never deterred him from his true passion, making money. In a bold move, he relocated to Cleveland and joined a merchant commission house. There, he thrived, paid off his debt, and even bought the business. The move to Cleveland would prove to be a turning point in Flagler's career, as it led him to cross paths with an old acquaintance, the legendary John D. Rockefeller. Together, they would go on to create the most powerful industrial company in the world. Flagler's contributions to this juggernaut would be immense, and his role in its rise to glory would become the stuff of legend. As the oil fields in Pennsylvania spewed forth their black gold, speculators frantically tried to figure out how to cash in on this newfound wealth, and it was John Rockefeller who set his sights on this lucrative opportunity. But it wasn't just Rockefeller's vision that propelled Standard Oil. Flagler was also instrumental in its success. In 1868, at the age of 37, Flagler joined Rockefeller and Samuel Andrews to form the Rockefeller, Andrews and Flagler oil refinery. Flagler's genius laid in negotiating transportation rate, which was critical in maintaining profit margins. He played the railroads against each other and secured secret rebates for shipping a large amount of oil on a given line on time. By 1870, the business had grown significantly and the partners needed more capital, but didn't want to lose control. Flagler came up with the idea of creating a new company, Standard Oil, and wrote a brief 200-word document to incorporate. The solution was credited to his brilliance and would become one of the greatest commercial ventures of all time. And yet, there was more to come. Henry Flagler's life took a mysterious turn after the death of his first wife in 1881. He became increasingly drawn to the lush and exotic state of Florida, where he saw the potential for great fortune and adventure. Despite his connection to Standard Oil as a consultant and stockholder, he kept a low profile and distanced himself from the media and the antitrust scandal that would later shake the foundations of the company. But Flagler was not content to simply sit back and watch as events unfolded. He saw something in Florida that others didn't, a land of mystery and untold riches waiting to be uncovered. With a bold vision and an eye for opportunity, he invested a staggering $50 million in the state's development, building magnificent hotels and bridges that spanned the state's winding rivers and rugged terrain. In St. Augustine, he erected the Grand Hotel Ponce de Leon, a lavish palace of opulence that was fit for royalty. He extended his rail system to Palm Beach, where he constructed the Whitehall and Breakers Hotel, two monuments to luxury and extravagance that would become the playgrounds of the rich and famous. And he even went so far as to found the city of Miami, insisting that it be named after an Indian name rather than his own, in an act of mysterious selflessness that confounded even his closest confidants. Henry Flagler played a significant role in the development of Florida, transforming it from a poor state to one of the largest economies in the world. His investments in railroads, hotels, and other infrastructure were crucial to the state's growth and prosperity, and his impact is still felt today. He is one of the state's most important historical figures, and his legacy will be felt for generations to come. Flagler died at the age of 83, leaving behind a mysterious and awe-inspiring tale of his life and accomplishments.